The Charanandri Hills of the Deccan Plateau sit directly along what was once a bustling, multi-faith trade corridor in the early medieval Indian subcontinent. For centuries, ancient engineers operating here relied on traditional rock-cut architecture. To create a space, builders tunneled horizontally straight into the cliff face, chipping away stone to hollow out interior rooms. This photograph shows the interior of the nearby Buddhist carpenter's cave. You can see the colossal seated Buddha and a ribbed rock ceiling painstakingly carved to imitate the wooden beams of standard timber buildings. These horizontal excavations are brilliant, but they still operate within the predictable physics of a supporting mountain enclosure. The roof holds itself up because the mountain surrounds it. Then there is Cave 16, the Kailasa Temple. The builders inverted the accepted rules of structural engineering. They didn't build up from the ground, and they didn't tunnel into the cliff. They started at the very top of the mountain and dug straight down. By carving downward, they isolated a massive central footprint of stone that is roughly twice the size of the Parthenon in Athens. This is subtractive monolithic carving. There are no mortar joints or individual bricks to swap out if someone makes a mistake. Once an iron chisel strikes the basalt, that stone is gone forever. A single miscalculated blow ruins the entire temple. This vintage photograph shows the stark boundary of that excavation. The central monolithic temple is completely separated from the sheer rock walls of the surrounding trenches on 3 sides. Why would an ancient civilization risk collapsing the entire project by attempting a radical engineering method demanding mathematical perfection on the very first try? Engineers mapped an architectural blueprint on the cliff's flat roof. Laborers then carved 3 massive vertical trenches into the basalt. This offered a brilliant advantage: gravity. Extracted debris naturally slides away, eliminating the need for complex interior scaffolding. It also provided structural stability. By maintaining a solid mass below the working level, engineers removed the risk of a heavy basalt roof collapsing under its own weight. Local folklore claims a master architect named Kokasa carved the temple's peak in a single week to save a fasting queen. The geological reality is that workers meticulously extracted over 200,000 tons of dense volcanic rock. Removing that volume of basalt in the 18 to 20 years it actually took required a highly organized army of laborers working continuously. That army was commanded by King Krishna I, the ruler of the newly ascendant Rashtrakuta Empire in the 8th century. His dynasty had recently overthrown the dominant Chalukya Empire through a violent military campaign, capturing their highly advanced guilds of architects in the process. Krishna I commanded these captive artisans to combine their regional techniques with the architectural styles of the conquered Pallava dynasty, forcing a hybrid design. This photograph shows how that dominance was projected. Notice how the towering spire completely commands the excavated pit and visually swallows the distant plains. The top-down excavation method served as an instrument of psychological warfare. It was designed to physically overshadow the structural achievements of every rival the Rashtrakutas had defeated. Moving down to the floor of the excavated pit, the temple reveals an exhaustive theological map. The entire layout is an earthly replica of Mount Kailash, the mythological Himalayan home of the Hindu deity Shiva. Look at this photo of the lower plinth. The base is wrapped in a continuous frieze of larger-than-life elephants and lions, creating the optical illusion that these cosmic beasts are physically carrying the entire mountain on their backs. That artistic detail is grounded in strict mathematical precision, specifically the use of fractal geometry on the temple's upper tiers. This schematic of the spires shows how a single miniature tower scales up to match the exact geometric shape of the entire superstructure. This recursive, self-similar pattern mathematically maps out the core Hindu philosophy that the microcosm contains the macrocosm in its entirety. As a devotee walks through the space, the architecture physically funnels them from the active, heavily sculpted world of the exterior into the silent realm of the unmanifested center. The final synthesis of this site is carved deep into the southern wall of the lower assembly hall, a relief panel known as the Ravananugraha. This photo captures a tense scene from the Ramayana. In the lower half of the frame, the 10-headed demon king Ravana is kneeling, straining his musculature and using all of his strength to heave Mount Kailash out of the ground. Above him, Lord Shiva remains completely serene. With an effortless, microscopic press of his big toe, Shiva stabilizes the mountain and traps the demon beneath it. Just as Shiva subdued arrogance with a single point of pressure, the Rashtrakuta engineers bent gravity to their will. They turned a mountain inside out to leave behind a 200,000-ton megalith that has remained intact for over 12 centuries.